G'day from the media centre here at the Barcelona circuit on a day when Max Verstappen told the promoter of the British Grand Prix that they should have a good long hard look at themselves. The big talking point today was Silverstone not selling out. The MD of Silverstone, Stuart Pringle, said if there's a strong likelihood of the same winner and the jeopardy is taken out of the sport, it does take the edge off it. Last year was very repetitive in terms of one team dominating, and they set off this season in the same vein. Effectively saying it's Red Bull and Max Verstappen that's causing Silverstone not to sell out. Max was asked today in the press conference his thoughts on the matter, and he put it straight back to the organiser, saying if a promoter can't fill all the seats, maybe they need to look first at themselves and see what they're doing wrong. Now, I think that's a fair call. After all, it's not Max Verstappen's job to keep the competition interesting. His aim, of course, is to win every race, as is every driver's aim. And besides, this year's competition has actually been more interesting than last year's. We've had 3 different winners apart from Max in the first 9 races. I've seen lots of comments on social media today claiming that the circuit is just greedy. I'll come back to that. Silverstone is a huge race. Last year, 483 people turned up for the race. Now, that's not the biggest crowd in F1 history. That accolade goes to the Australian Grand Prix in their very last year, 1995, when some 520,000 were at that event. And I think I may well have been at that event, being an Adelaide-born boy. So is it Red Bull's fault? Of course it's not. It might be a consequence, given that they're very dominant in the sport. But if you go back to when Lewis Hamilton was dominant, the Silverstone MD, Stuart Pringle, had this to say: I recognise that we had several years of a British driver dominating the championship, and we didn't mind that so much as a British promoter. But it's certainly been a lot harder with Red Bull dominating. Maybe Silverstone's just had it easy. Certainly their 2022 event was the fastest ever to sell out. They sold 142,000 odd race tickets in record time. Yes, it's one of the major races on the calendar, and by this time, what are we at the time of recording, a couple of weeks out, they've normally sold out. Maybe Stuart's comments were a ploy to drum up publicity, and if so, it may have worked. If you go back to what Max said, he thinks that the organiser needs to have a good strong look at what they're doing. They have dynamic pricing. What is that? Well, the same seat could sell for different pricing depending on demand. And I found this online today where this ticket sold for £349 and then 20 minutes later a similar seat for £509. Now, if you have a look at their average 3-day ticket price, it is the 5th highest at £543. What is the most expensive? Well, that would be Las Vegas at more than double that price, followed by Miami, Mexico and Monaco. The cheapest, by the way, China. How far short of a sellout are they? I understand it's only in the order of about 4 or 5% of the tickets left for sale, and there's no reason why all of those might not go before we get to race weekend. Perhaps people realising that tickets are still available will cause a run. Anyway, going back to Max's comments, they were typically Max. Blunt, straightforward, classic Max Verstappen. No malice in them, just some sound advice, I think, and I like the way Max handles that sort of stuff. He doesn't beat around the bush, and nor should he have to. He wasn't having a crack at anyone, he was just, I think, stating the obvious. In an actual fact, it was more of a throwaway comment, and perhaps even Stuart Pringle's comments shouldn't be taken too seriously, but certainly the media has jumped on board in general and run with this story, suggesting there's a conflict. I'm not sure there's any real conflict there, and I don't think anyone will be losing any sleep over this. Now, the other big story today was this man coming back into the sport. This is Flavio Briatore, a colourful character, one would say. He's now the executive advisor for Alpine. And what does that entail? Well, he'll be scouting talent, providing insight on the driver market, advising on some strategic matters in the sport. He, of course, was the man behind Crashgate many years ago. I won't go into much detail, but I don't know Flavio to talk to, but I was doing some reading today and I found out he actually dated Heidi Klum for a while. Heidi has been at 2 Grand Prix, last year at the Las Vegas race and earlier this year in Miami. She was a very popular model and still commands a lot of attention. And he also manages Fernando Alonso. On the topic of Fernando, he has his mother here at the track today. I spotted her coming in earlier this morning on a beautiful day. All that rain has disappeared, but not all that dirt. That's still all over the cars and all over the hospitality suites here. Some of the teams had a good crack at cleaning it. Red Bull here had a go and I think gave up halfway through. Who could blame them? It's a big job. Now, Oliver Bearman was back in the car today for Haas. The young Brit is a very strong chance at getting a drive for Haas this year. He looked a little nervous as he got into the car, but managed to get around the track without doing any damage, and certainly is much the wiser for it. That is his second of 6 practice sessions that he'll be doing this year, which is a very good indication that he will be in the car for 2025. Other family members today. Oh, I spotted Joe Ricardo, Daniel's dad. He's got a couple of his crew, I think, joining him from Western Australia. Joe is a fine man and certainly loves his Formula One. Pierre Gasly's parents, Jean-Jacques and Pascal, always happy and delighted to pose for my lens. As you probably know, I do a segment called Watches of the Paddock every Monday or Tuesday after the race weekend, and today I spotted one of the drivers wearing a Rolex. Now, it's very rare that we see a driver with a Rolex on their wrist. Nico Hülkenberg is a notable exception. He has a couple of Daytonas that I spot him wearing. But today, this man, Logan Sargeant, was sporting a Rolex. Rolex don't sponsor any of the teams, but they are an F1 sponsor. But I'd suggest that that is his own private watch that he's wearing. And that is a rarity in Formula One. Lando Norris's team, McLaren, have a sunglass sponsor. It is Sun God. But these weren't Sun God glasses. It was funny because Lando parks in the car park, he walks across this road, and there's probably 50 or 60 people there hopeful of an autograph or a selfie, and he does the right thing, spends a bit of time with them, then he moves on to the green carpet and pretty much left to his own devices. But I noticed this morning when he came in, he was clutching a hat and a pair of glasses that he delightfully raised to his eyes as he got close to us. And there's about 7 or 8 photographers down there waiting to shoot that. And if you have a look here, you've got Lando on the left and Norris. That's it. No S. Maybe it's dropped off. And I just realised looking at my photos before I started doing this that there was also an LN4 written on the lenses. And if you have a look at this picture closely, you'll notice that the shadow falls nicely on his yellow shirt. Will he be wearing those glasses around the track? I don't know, but certainly if you're the person that produced and gave them to Lando, know that they were at least well received and interesting, certainly to us in the media. Just been out and done something quite exciting. I did a photo shoot with a whole lot of people on the podium. This is a package that F1 Experiences is going to be offering, but look, I've never been into the control room, but I had to go in there to shoot some people. And then I went into the cool-down room, which is off limits, but it's a package they'll be offering. And then, of course, we went out onto the podium, and I couldn't help it. I had to get a photo here with the trophy. It may never happen again. But on a different note, I want to show you outside here. So this is the back of the media centre, and down here are the garages and the hospitality suites and the engineering motorhomes. And it is an amazing setup because all of this will be packed up on Sunday night, and by Monday it'll be on the road to Austria, and then the day after that race finishes it all gets packed up and sent to England. This is a triple header. It's grueling for us, yes, but way more grueling for these men and women down here who carry all this heavy equipment from city to city. I had to laugh this morning. I was watching Yuki Tsunoda come into the track, and he was pretty much bombarded by people looking for selfies. And as often happens, a lot of people get quite nervous when they get around a driver and they get a bit excited and they can't work their phone. So Yuki actually took control of this phone, made that photo happen. And I do see that often with drivers from time to time. And I'll be honest, it happened with me with Casey Neistat about the first time I ever asked for a selfie. I had no idea what I was doing back in Abu Dhabi some years ago. I want you to have a look at this building that spans the track at turn 10 effectively. This is going to be a corporate hospitality platform area. It's going to house something like 1,000 odd people. Now, there are a few people in there this race, but it's not finished. And that's evidenced by the crews that were working on this even late on Thursday night. But it is a phenomenal structure, and there's another one at the exit of Pit Lane, which is a corporate suite as well. Brand new for this track. On the subject of wives and girlfriends, who do we have in today? I saw Flavio, Esteban Ocon's girlfriend, in a magnificent outfit here. Carmen accompanied George into the track, and I did find Alexandra. She didn't arrive with Charles, she arrived later on her own. But a stunning dress, and she, as usual, stands out in the paddock. That's about all I've got to report today. If you're looking for more content and stuff, here's all my sites that you can go and check out. Thanks for watching.
And stay passionate!
God, I need to put my glasses on.